Well, the National Publicity Secretary of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Mr. Felix Morka, joins us virtually on the program today. What a big day it was yesterday, Mr. Morka, for your party at the presidential villa, the president getting an endorsement from the National Assembly and literally everybody present there. But there is a politics of things and there is the outcome of the politics, which is the governance. But I want you to respond perhaps to some of the points raised by your friend, I imagine it's still your friend, politically speaking now, Mr. Saliu Lukman, about the APC, the performance. Mr. Morka, when you look at this coalition coming up, do you fear that, wait, these are people who know us well, they know our shortcomings, they know the areas we failed, and they may just do it better if they're given the chance?
Thank you so much, Kayode. Yes, I know Lukman very well. He's a good friend of mine. We go way back in the pro-democracy movement. So we shared platforms together and coordinated efforts back in the day to upend a military dictatorship in our country. But look, we're not concerned that much about the activities of the coalition, the so-called coalition, that the opposition parties, some of the opposition parties are putting together. We're not concerned about that because we are too busy, putting our own platform together. The All Progressives Congress, as you noted, in the course of your show, we have been, the destination of choice for a number of, politicians and citizens who think and who believe that this president has, unfolded a vision that they can relate with. They see where this is going. They see that this president has embarked upon a course that is promising to set Nigeria straight, correct generational mistakes that have been made. Look, every president, raises, his right hand to take his oath out of office. He doesn't take it in association with any other president, whether of other parties or even of his own party. He takes the oath to serve dutifully to the best of his ability. This president is doing just that, and this president must be evaluated on the basis of his record. Look, the PDP had 16 years to govern, and at the end of 16 years, it was, just point-blank disaster. President Muhammadu Buhari was really a stopgap president. He set the stage for, the current president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to take charge. And that's what he's doing. So, the president is busy governing. Our party is busy doing what political parties are meant to do. I hear commentary where people say, oh, you know what, APC, why are you endorsing the president? Why is the opposition, putting together a coalition? This is a political process. We are in a political democracy. It means that the opposition will do what the opposition was meant to do, and rightfully so. They're welcome to do anything and everything, under the law and under our democratic system to, again, push the argument. The ruling party also has the same right to do what it needs to do to advance its own, case before Nigerians. So I don't think people should, just get unnecessarily hysterical about, the activities of the APC or people even joining the APC, when in fact people are, banding together under the banner of the opposition, some coalition movement, and you expect the party to be calm and quiet and act like nothing is going on? No, we won't be quiet. We will do our part, again, within the framework of the law and within the system that we operate, which is, a democratic system. So we will respond as we move on, and we will also take initiative like we did yesterday with our national summit to really bring our party together and demonstrate, our seriousness about tackling Nigeria's challenges.
Mr. Morka, before we go over to what played out yesterday, we can't just gloss over President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure. I spoke with the comrade senator. He said the economy was badly damaged. You said that PDP was a disaster. And Muhammadu Buhari's tenure, former president, was a stopgap. We're talking 8 years. Literally from the books we saw, And from what the APC has told us, we're on the brink of a collapse, literally. So how would you gloss over that and make it look like it wasn't really that much of a big deal? So he held off for President Bola Tinubu to come and take over. Maybe you have to explain that to Nigerians.
George, see, it's not hard to explain. What you are not doing, even in your summation or your framing, is you're not telling us where the economy was at the time Buhari stepped in to govern in 2015. We operated a phantom economy, an economy where votes for critical national investments and assets were literally taken and diverted to activities and to expenditures that were unknown to our budgetary process, where contractors, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, will be awarded multiple times with no actual performance, where serious monies were appropriated but were never applied to the performance of the objectives for which those monies were appropriated. It was simply just a system that had no control. You see, look, we lived a false life as a people for 16 years. Take our exchange rate system. It was simply manipulated on a daily basis.
Mr. Morka, my apologies. I do not intend to cut you so that we manage time. My question is to the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, which this leadership has said was a disaster in that sense in our fiscal management of the economy, and which forced the president to take very hard decisions that is being criticized for today. So I'm saying you can't gloss over, quote unquote, the disaster of the administration of Muhammadu Buhari and be blaming the PDP on one. He had 8 years to do what he had to do, and look at what the President Bola Tinubu had to inherit. That's what I want you to speak to.
Joe, that's what I'm speaking to. And President Muhammadu Buhari did exactly what he needed to do, during his tenure. You see, if you say, look, by the way, I don't know where you get your disaster characterization of the Buhari administration. I mean, that's, I won't even interrogate where you got that from.
But you said, he said PDP was a disaster. That's what I'm saying. I have heard members of your party said that the economy was terribly damaged, which is what informed the hard decision. I premised it properly, so I'm not choosing words carelessly.
George, I'm saying to you that the word you use of a disaster in reference to the Buhari administration, I am saying I don't know where you got that from, and so don't attribute it to, to the APC. I don't know who said it, and even if anyone said it, that is their personal opinion. I'm quite sure. But the point—that's not the point. The point, George, is that the Buhari administration inherited a system that was also utterly decadent, and he managed that system to the best he could, in preparation for the next administration. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the president today, has also stepped in, and 2 years on, yesterday, I am sure you carried that program live. Even with the shortness of time, I am sure you saw the highlights of the really serious progress that we have recorded in 2 years of this president across sectors, from the economy to national security to, look, I know many Nigerians are waiting for everything to turn around and turn around as they desire, as they like to see. But that does not happen and never has happened in any country of the world in 2 years, or quite frankly, even in 8 years. Now, we all need to we know where we need to go. We all have ideas and our visions of that Nigeria that we want. But the point is that even if you take the most modest, idealistic, sort of expectation of Nigerians, it is still a tall order that must be, worked for. We must work for it. We must earn it. And we must build the blocks. Every indicator that is relevant today are pointing in that direction. This president and the record he has accomplished in 2 years is, pointing to, I think, the path that everyone agrees we need to go. A more stable, economy. A serious engagement to push back and eliminate the actors that are making us unsafe in this country, which our military is doing. And we never say enough in gratitude to our military. Look, we all want to be safe, and it's sad when a Nigerian loses his life, either to Boko Haram or to bandits or to other criminal elements. But unfortunately, Nigeria is not, does not exist in isolation of what is going on, even in our own sub-region here. We know what is going on, and we listen to it every day in the news, and it happens for those who report directly. They report what is also going on. We are not, sometimes we suffer the collateral impact of what is going on elsewhere around us. But what is clear, and what I think Nuhu Ribadu yesterday, our National Security Advisor, made clear yesterday, with facts and figures, is that we are making progress. Are we totally there? Are we where we need to be? No, we're not. Nobody is under any illusion about that. We're not. But make no mistake, we are getting there. Some of the countries, Geoff, that have actually earned a place of respect, global respect today, economically speaking, even security, speaking, they didn't get there overnight. China did not become a global superpower today, in 10 years. It took a lot, and anybody who knows the history of China knows where they have come from. Malaysia, the same thing. It was tough, but people had to put their foot down, like this president is doing, to make decisions that may be unpopular in the short term, but are necessary, are completely inevitable if you want to build a very strong economy for the future. And that is where we are headed, obviously, based on all that is unfolding in our country today.
Well, Mr. Morka, I can't help but also, piggyback on your comments on the administration of the PDP and then the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. You say the PDP government was a disaster, but if we reflected on what the economy, was saying at the time up until, 2023, when President Muhammadu Buhari handed over, the figures speak for themselves. Inflation, for instance, was 8% when the PDP administration was handing over, but in 2023, by the time President Muhammadu Buhari was handing over, inflation figure was, 22%. And you know what inflation is saying even now under the continuing APC government. That's on the one hand. The exchange rate also speaks for itself. At the time the PDP government was handing over, it was 197 naira to the dollar. And when President Muhammadu Buhari was handing over, you know what the exchange rate was. And what is it now? It is 1,500 naira plus to the dollar. So the question Nigerians will be asking you, Mr. Morka, this morning is, you're saying other democracies, it took time for them to get to the destination. How much time does the APC government need for its unpopular policies to begin to yield result?
Thank you very much. Now, you see, I used the word phantom in reference to the economy under the PDP. It was unreal. You see, a lot of the hole that we're trying to dig ourselves out from came in that era. Now, let me explain this. It's not that complicated. Listen, what does it take for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today to decree that Nigeria's exchange rate is 1 naira to the dollar? What does it take? It takes just a stroke of the pen to issue an executive order or send a bill to the National Assembly, anyhow they instrument it, to set Nigeria's foreign exchange rate to 1-to-1, that achieve that parity, right? It is possible by legal instrumentation. But what does that mean? Does it mean that the world today, even Nigerians today, will all of a sudden believe that 1 naira is truly and economically speaking, equivalent to $1. It doesn't mean that. You see, and if the person were to do that, I bet he would gain popularity from, from where he is today to, 90 percentile. I am sure he will. Because people will say, oh, wonderful, I have 100 naira and I have $100. But that is not economics. And that would be taking Nigeria to an era that is, pre the, economic era, the, global market era. And no country of the world will take us seriously. This is what we had for generations, and which is why Nigeria never has attained its potential, because the world never considered the economy a safe destination to go with their money to invest. And no country of the world, even the United States, President Trump was just on a tour of some countries in the Gulf and elsewhere, mobilizing support for the American economy. Even the greatest economy of the world depends on investors, people bringing their money to invest in that country. Now, one of the major incentives for investment that drives investment is how you manage your currency exchange relations with other currencies. The marketplace is the globally accepted medium of moderation or modulation of foreign exchange. Now, under the PDP, this was simply manipulated. It was set. So when you say dollar was 197, that was not the value of the naira necessarily. That was a fixed value of the naira. It was a dictated value of the naira. So please, what this president has done is to float the naira, is so that we can achieve a market-determined exchange rate that will persuade the world that Nigerian economy is a serious place where they take their money to invest, so they can be assured of return. Return on investment is the incentive for investment. And if you don't do that, you don't get anything. And the money that we're looking for, others are looking for it. Ghana is looking for it. South Africa is looking for it. So look, my point is that
Mr. Morka,
we can't, please, just 1 second, if you will. We cannot just, think that this is all about politics. It's not. There are other serious systems that are at play here, and the world is watching. So let's not, simply make our daily, subsistence, necessities override the critical long-term, challenges that we must overcome in order to build sustainable growth and prosperity.
all right. Well, Mr. Morka, we can go on and on about what the data says, comparing the Buhari government to the previous Jonathan and the PDP government. GDP growth used to be 7%. During Buhari, it was below 3%. GDP per capita used to be $3,000, drops to $1,200 in 2024. We can talk about inflation. The data really speaks for itself, but I understand your perspective. Naturally, you will defend the government, even oil production and the rest. But I want you to speak to something that played out yesterday, Mr. Morka, and that's President Tinubu being likened to LKY of Singapore. That's Lee Kuan Yew. It was the SGF likening him to Lee Kuan Yew, saying that, you know what, you look like that. But when you look at it closely, because a lot of people thought that's great, right? But when you look at it closely, the same LKY, Lee Kuan Yew, was often described as harboring authoritarian, nanny-like tendencies, basically intruding into personal rights and all. It was noted for issues around press freedoms, public assembly, labor activism. In fact, Mr. Morka, and I'm sure you're aware of this, that his party dominated parliament and held all the seats from 1968 to 1981, and it faced no formal opposition. Is that the President Tinubu you see as well?
No, certainly not. That's not. I think that any reference to President Tinubu in relation to the former Malaysian leader has to do with his dogged commitment to the transformation of our economy, as was witnessed in Malaysia during that era. This president is. Hello? This president is.
I think you meant to say Singapore, Mr. Morka.
I
think you meant to say Singapore. Yeah.
That is correct. Yes. My apologies. So the reference to Lee Kuan Yew is, I think, to my understanding, is simply in connection to President Tinubu's dogged commitment to radically, transforming the foundations of Nigeria's economy and to set it on that trajectory of sustainable growth. Now, you know as well as I do that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a consummate Democrat. Under his leadership, we have not seen any tendency to muscling democratic rights or freedoms or abridging constitutional liberties. That has not happened, and I know that won't happen because he himself is, he comes from that tradition. All of us who are involved in the pro-democracy movement, are cut from that tradition. And, we have enormous respect for the freedom of others to disagree. Politics of difference is something that this president believes in and is committed to. But he's a party man, and he's also a Democrat, and is the leader of a political party. And as leader of a party, yes, he desires for his party to grow, to be strong, to be able to carry out the objectives for which the party was founded. Now, what happened yesterday with...
Okay, you can land on that thought. Pardon me. You can land on that thought.
No, I was saying that what happened yesterday was simply a demonstration of, I think, that democratic will to move our party and through our party to, again, compete for the confidence of Nigerians in the next election. To
I
give
have
us
to cut in now.
the mandate
My sincere apologies. Because of time, we still have a whole lot of days to analyze some of the things that came out of this. So I know you had a long night yesterday, and you definitely need to catch some rest. So we appreciate that you were even able to join us to clarify some of these issues. But we'll be coming back in the coming days to have you. We've been speaking with Mr. Felix Morka, the National Publicity Secretary of the ruling APC, on some of these issues. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Morka.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we'll take a break now. When we return, we'll tone things down a bit. This is the trending sound. It just hit people like a lightning bolt. What am I talking about? Well, Gaze Baba joins us. He's made that banger tune. Stay with us. We'll be right back.